everyone, it's TheTidesChanging here, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. Today I'm building a modern house, and this is the second speed build for my base game Let's Play, which is going to be coming back for its second season very soon. The first one was the art gallery speed build that I uploaded a few weeks ago. And as I mentioned in that speed build, this house is for the household containing Olivia, Meredith, Judith, and Kyle, and Judith and Kyle's children. And just in case any of you are unfamiliar with this Let's Play, a little bit about it is that it started out following 8 friends that were split into 4 different households, and I would rotate through the households throughout the series, spending a few parts with each of them. And that was just a way of playing the game that I found really fun. So I'm going to be continuing that way of playing in the second season, except that starting out we're going to have 5 households, just because the amount of Sims in the series grew a lot throughout the series, so it would just be too much to keep all of them in 4 households. But as the series goes on and we begin to focus more on the second generation than the first one, it'll probably go back down to 4 households. But if any of this sounds interesting and you want to learn more about this Let's Play, I did upload a recap of the Let's Play about a month or so ago, just going over everything I felt was important from the series in about 20 minutes, so I'll leave a link to that in the description in case you want to check it out. I am really excited to be bringing this Let's Play back soon, and now that this speed build's done, I can really focus on bringing it back because this was the last speed build that I was going to be doing before bringing the series back, so now that this is out of the way, I can just really focus on making the first few parts and getting them up, although I still do have quite a bit of prep work to do for it, so there might be a period where I don't upload for a week or so. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to see how things go. But for those of you who have been wanting to see the series return, the wait is almost over. It'll be coming back, hopefully within the next few weeks. The reason why I chose to make a new house for this household and not any of the other 4 is that this household has a more unconventional living situation because you have 2 single adults and you have an adult couple and then you have 2 kids. And a lot of homes are made for families where you have a parent or single parent and then a bunch of kids, which is the kind of situation that the other households in this Let's Play are in. So for the 2 other households that I wanted to move, I just used other homes I've made, since I tend to make homes that are family homes. But I didn't have a home made that was for this specific situation, and while I could have just changed the bedrooms to have a more adult-like look in some other house, I also wanted to have a house that had the amenities that their previous house had, because they did live in a pretty nice house before. So I wanted to have a home gym and a pool and other stuff that their other home had. And I didn't have another house that I had made that was like that, and I also just really wanted to make a new house for this household. This house really isn't that much bigger than their previous one, but they had been in the previous one for a while, and it really didn't fit the situation that they're in. It was just a house that I had done in a collab that I just made work for them. But when I originally started using the house, it was a situation where you just had roommates living together, and then a 4th sim moved in, so I had to turn the gym upstairs into, I had to split it between a gym and another bedroom, so the bedroom upstairs on the top floor is just really small, and it wasn't really working that well for them, so I felt like it was time for them to move into something new that just worked better. So here it is. And I really like how this house turned out. It's definitely a different style than I usually build because I tend to go for more traditional homes, and this is more modern, obviously. But I had so much fun building it. You know, it was fun to do something different than I normally would. And I really like how it turned out in the end. I was originally going to make it a mid-century modern style, and I don't think that this house really ended up being that kind of a style. But how the inspiration for it came about was that I was searching for pictures of mid-century modern homes, and I found the front of one that looked kind of like the front of this one, so I just went off of that and kind of built the rest of the house around it. And in the end, I think it turned out pretty well, and I'm really looking forward to playing in this house. And this will be the first household that we'll be playing with when the Let's Play comes back, because in that recap video, I linked to a poll asking which household you all wanted to see first, and the votes were overwhelmingly for this household. Like, there was, I don't remember, I haven't checked the poll in a while, so I actually kind of want to check it again. Okay, so I have it up now, and there are 176 votes, and 111 of those are for this household, so it's just overwhelming votes for this household. And the next highest one was the household with Brian, Lily, and their kids with 31 votes, so that's just a huge gap. Like, it's obvious that we're gonna be with this household for the first part. And I was actually really happy about that because I was I was looking forward to coming back to this household the most just because we left off at kind of a cliffhanger point, because Judith got pregnant at the very end of the series, so she actually hadn't even had her kids when the series ended. So when the series comes back, those of you, when the series comes back, you'll finally get to see her kids. So that should be fun, and I've also come up with some other developments for The Sims that should be interesting, and the same goes for the other households as well. I'm just really looking forward to bringing this back and sharing what has happened with The Sims since we last left off. Right now I'm finishing up putting the windows in, and the house is pretty much built now. I did get rid of the roof right here because it just looked kind of weird, and I was trying to adjust it to get it to look right, but no matter what I did, I just felt like I couldn't get it to look right, so I felt like it was best just to get rid of it and just make that whole area off to the side a nice large deck. After I did that, I went back inside and tweaked the layout a little bit, because originally what was going on was that the room in the front with all the windows on it is a home gym, and then I was going to have a bathroom off of that. And then the room across from it is the master bedroom, so I was going to have a bathroom off of both the gym and off the master bedroom. But then I thought that maybe it would be better to just make the two bathrooms into one and just have one large master bathroom. And then I was able to just put a smaller bathroom in that area that's bumped out in the front, which you'll see it when I get to the interior, but I thought that that would be better than having a bathroom off of the gym and a bathroom off of the master bedroom when they're both right next to each other. I just didn't think that was really necessary, and then there's also of course room for another bathroom in that space that I do end up using as one. But now I'm getting the wallpaper on, and I didn't figure it out as quickly as it looks like I did in the video. I actually spent an hour trying to figure out the wallpaper, and I just cut it all out and just got right to where I figured it out, because if I'd kept it all in, there would have been 10 minutes of me just figuring out wallpaper, and that's not very fun to watch, so I just left that out. But I do like the wallpaper that I decided on. It's a combination that I haven't used before, but I think it looks pretty cool. I was trying not to have it be too dark, so that's why I just put in the white stone in with the black, and originally when I was trying to figure out what to do, I just had neutral wallpaper instead of the blue. But I feel like that looked really bland, and like the house just needed a little bit of color to it, so that's where the blue came in. That's it for the wallpaper, so now moving on to the landscaping. With the landscaping, I went back and forth a bit on whether to have a cleaner style or go with the more lush style that I usually go with. And I decided just to go with the lush style because I did try out the cleaner style and I just felt like it wasn't enough, and that just made the house look a little bit more boring. Although the lush landscaping probably wasn't the best choice, but at the time I just felt like that was a better choice than the cleaner landscaping style I was also thinking of. I don't have much else to say about the landscaping, but I do have a sort of exciting announcement regarding my channel. I did finally get a new computer. I mentioned back when I started my current job in February that I was going to be saving up money to put a new computer together, and I finally got that money saved up and ordered the parts for the computer and put it together and everything. And this is exciting because new computers are always exciting, and also means that my videos should be better quality from now on. Because I was using a laptop before, and while it was a pretty good laptop, it didn't really have the performance I wanted. It lagged, and the lag had gotten worse as more packs came out for The Sims 4. So the videos should be smoother and more lag-free from now on. I also will be able to start uploading in 1080p. The last video I uploaded, which was the Let's Play part, was recorded with a new computer, so that was in 1080p. This one isn't because I made this build on my laptop. But I did use a new computer for the fly-through clips at the end, so you might be able to notice a quality difference with that. I'm not sure if there really will be much of a difference. I'm just really looking forward to being able to make videos that I feel are better quality, because it is something that's important to me. I have to admit, the recent patch did contribute to me deciding that it was time to get a new computer, because I did have the money saved up, but I was just putting off the process of getting a new computer because I decided that rather than just buying something pre-made, I wanted to pick out the parts myself and put it all together, just so that way I could make a computer that was tailored to my specific needs, so that way I wouldn't possibly pay more money for features that I don't need, or have to make changes to a computer that I bought just because it was lacking something that I wanted. And plus I just thought it would be fun. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. But yeah, I just kept putting it off because I knew it would be a time-consuming thing to pick out the parts and research, because I've never built a computer before and I didn't even know where to start with it. But the recent patch just pushed me to finally do it, because in order to be able to see the new lighting in the game, you have to have the lighting set to very high, and that was something that I had to turn down to high just because my laptop lagged so much when I had the graphics set to very high, and I was just really sad that I couldn't take advantage of that. Plus, my channel's at a good point to transition from one computer to another right now because I currently have one active series and we'll be starting 2 new ones soon. So I thought it'd be good to have things be smoother from the get-go rather than a few laggy parts in the beginning, especially since I'm going to be using this house in the first part of the Let's Play. And when I was building this house, it was just lagging a lot. And it just drove me nuts. I knew that that was something I was going to have to deal with in live mode as well. And I just didn't want to deal with that the first part of this Let's Play. Because I'm a bit of a perfectionist about some things. So it just frustrates me when my game gets laggy. And what I usually end up doing whenever the game lags during Let's Builds or Let's Plays is I'll just pause, wait for my computer to sort itself out, and then start again. And it just gets sort of frustrating to do because it takes you out of what you're doing. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully not having to deal with that anymore. And oh yeah, before I forget, the other series that I'm going to be starting soon is a restaurant Let's Build. And I'm also hoping to do a restaurant speed build as well. But it was a lot of fun to put the computer together rather than just buying something out of the box. And the nice thing is that I know what everything inside the computer is, so I know what I can upgrade and how to upgrade and all of that. And that's just really good knowledge to have. Because with pre-built computers, you might know the processor or the graphics card that you're getting, but you don't know what the other components are. You don't know whether they're good quality or not. So it's a good peace of mind to know that I picked out good quality parts for the computer. There was a while where I actually swore off having a custom-built computer, although that was something I got over a while ago, but that was because when I was in 9th grade, I really wanted a new computer because The Sims 2 had come out, I think it was like a year before at that point, but I didn't have a computer that could handle The Sims 4, but I really wanted one that did, and you couldn't just go get the cheapest computer and play The Sims 2 with it. So what I chose to do to save a little bit of money and have a computer that could handle The Sims 2 on a budget, because I was in high school and didn't have a job, was I decided to have a computer built for me. And my family knew someone who built custom PCs, so what I did to get a computer that could handle The Sims 2 for a very low amount of money was I gave the guy this Windows 98 computer that I had. And this was 2005, so at this point that computer was 6 or 7 years old, and I just said, use whatever you can from this computer to build a new one, which I now realize was just a really bad idea, because what he ended up doing was he used the power supply from the old computer, he also used the hard drives from it, so the computer had really slow hard drives and not a lot of hard drive space. The power supply also wasn't enough for the other components that were in the computer, so I had problems with this computer just shutting down all the time. I think there was also some overheating problems because it was built in a very small case, so there wasn't a lot of good airflow, and it just wasn't a good computer. It would shut off all the time, like I would be playing The Sims 2, building a house, or playing the game, and I had saved a while, it would just shut off and I would lose everything. It would also just shut off while I was browsing the internet. And it just wasn't a great computer. Another problem I had with it was that I guess when he installed Windows, he used the same disk for multiple computers he was building. So about a month after I had it, I started getting these pop-ups saying that you have a counterfeit version of Windows. So I couldn't get any updates, and it was just a mess. It was such an annoying computer. But the thing is, you get what you pay for, and I'm older, and I think a little bit wiser now, so I made better decisions when putting this computer together. And I made sure to get a really good power supply so I wouldn't have to worry about any shutting off issues. But getting back to the build, we're on the inside now. I'm currently working in the living room, and I always like to do something interesting around where the TV is. So I looked for some pictures of living rooms to get a little bit of inspiration. I saw this picture where they had the cabinets underneath the TV, and then above the TV to the side they had a cabinet that was in a different color, and then some shelves next to it. So that was what I was trying out originally, but I didn't like how the shelves looked. So I just had cabinets going all the way across the top, and then a taller cabinet at the end. But I do like how the blue cabinet looks. It kind of adds a nice pop of color to the room. I did find this house a little bit challenging to furnish because usually my go-to style for furnishing is a mix of modern and traditional, but that obviously wouldn't work that well for this house because it's a modern house. So yeah, it was a lot of fun though to furnish in a more modern style. And I like how it turned out in the end. I really like the interior of this house. Like honestly, I like the interior of it more than the exterior, but usually my builds are a little bit more interior focused anyway, so I just tend to like the inside more. In this area behind the couch, I'm just turning it into a reading nook. Couldn't really think of anything else to do with it, and I thought that that was a good use for it. Also getting an accent wallpaper in there to break up all the whites that are in this room, and that's pretty much it for the living room area. I thought about putting some blinds up, but it just messed with the lighting that came with the new patch and made the room look a little bit less open. So I just left it off. In this house, I really only put curtains on the bedrooms. Or I should say the windows that are in the bedrooms, just because I felt like privacy wasn't really needed as much elsewhere. But that's pretty much it for this area, and after that, I believe I moved on. Yeah, I moved on to the foyer area, and I got so stuck on this. I was trying to put in paintings here at first, but I just felt like it didn't look quite right. And usually what I like to do in foyers is have some sort of table with decorations and a lamp on it, like just a table you would put your stuff on as soon as you walked into the door, but that doesn't work for this build that well because the door is right up against the wall. So what I ended up doing was, rather than having the table there, I just put some shelves going across just because that's something that sticks out at the surface, but it doesn't come out as far as the tables do, and your Sims can still get into the house and everything. So you don't have to worry about that. It wouldn't be very good if your Sims couldn't even get into their own house. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that. I didn't really put much else on the shelf than that. Next, I just changed the wallpaper a little bit because I didn't really like how the blue worked there, and just putting some more brick throughout the rest of the main area. And the house is kind of a weird layout, but that's because when I built the outside of it, I didn't even think about how I was going to arrange things on the interior. And there is just an office in the middle between the living room area and the kitchen and dining room area, and that was because if I hadn't done that, I just felt like I wouldn't have enough walls to put the kitchen on, or to put the counters and everything on, just because when it comes to kitchens, I don't like just having a linear kitchen on one wall. I like to have kind of an L-shaped kitchen or something like that. So the best way, the way I figured out the best way to do that, I felt, was to just put that room in the middle between the two and then just use one of the walls there to have the kitchen counters and such against. I also just finished a smaller bathroom that I was talking about earlier and just getting some items here in the hallway. And this office that I'm currently putting doors on is going to be Olivia's office, because pretty much this house is mainly Olivia's, because she's, you'll find out why, but she's the one who's earning the most money. So she's paying most of the bills for this house, and as a result, she has the nicest bedroom. And she is a writer, so that office is for her to do her writing in. I realized I should probably do a little bit more explaining about these Sims, so you know why they're in this situation if you haven't seen the series before. So first we have Judith and Kyle. They had a fling when they were teenagers, and that's how their twin sons came to be. And Olivia is Kyle's mom, and Meredith is Judith's mom. And the two of them were very young when they had their kids, so Olivia and Meredith have been helping them raise them. Meredith has always been a single mother because Judith's father was a deadbeat, and they broke up shortly before Judith was born because their relationship was a wreck. And he just wasn't a good person, he was a criminal, and Meredith didn't feel like he was a good person to raise a child with, and didn't really even want him to be that involved with Judith's life. Olivia was married, but her relationship with her ex-husband went downhill and they argued a lot, so they got divorced. And of course after the divorce, they weren't going to want to live together, so that's why she's in this situation. So there you go, that's how all of these Sims are connected. Oh, and fun fact, originally I was going to have the kitchen and dining room area at the very front of the house where the living room is, but I was doing it and I realized that you don't normally walk right into the kitchen of a house. I was just like, what am I doing? What am I doing? This isn't right. So I just scrapped that whole thing and then ended up putting the living room there, which just flows better, makes a lot more sense. Because I don't think I've really ever seen a house where you just walk right into the kitchen. Usually you walk into the living room, then you go back to the kitchen, just because that tends to make a lot more sense. I'm not sure why I thought that was a great idea at first. I think I started building the house pretty late at night, so I believe like at the point where I got to the living room it was probably getting to be pretty late and I was pretty tired, and when I'm tired I just do things that make absolutely no sense. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. After that point, I just stopped and came back to it later when I could think a little bit more clearly. And it just worked a lot better to have the kitchen back here. I mean, I guess there are some houses where, because I've seen some floor plans where you'll walk into the house and then off to one side you'll have the dining room, and then usually you kind of go straight back, and then there's the living room, and then off to the side from that is the kitchen. Like, I've seen that before, but I don't think I've ever seen where you just walk in and it's just the kitchen. But currently I'm moving on to the dining room. I was trying to keep things in this whole area fairly bright, despite the fact that I had black walls and black counters. So yeah, since I had that, I tried to not make everything in the room too dark, so we have some bright greens, add a pop of color, also changed the counters to a lighter color, and now I'm just figuring out something to put back behind the table. So of course I used that wall decoration that came with cool kitchen stuff because that works out perfectly for this room because it is a kitchen area. And just throwing in a little china cabinet back in the corner there. So that's almost it for this room. Something I did have a lot of fun with when I was working on this build was just zooming in, like just kind of going down to sim levels, not zim levels, in the rooms and just seeing how the lighting looked. Because this was the first build I did after the lighting patch came out, so I just really enjoyed getting a look at how the rooms looked with that new lighting. That's pretty much it for the kitchen dining room area. So the next room I worked on was what will be Livy's office. It's not very big. It's probably not good for privacy purposes to have the large windows and doors going into the office, but I just thought that looked a lot better, you know, looking towards the office to have those large windows than to just leave it a brick wall. Or at least it was a brick wall when I first put it in, but I did change it to paneling whilst working on the kitchen. But yeah, currently I'm just getting all the decorations and such on the desk to make it look a little bit more realistic and all that jazz. At first I was going to give this room a red theme, like I guess a red and a black theme, but I ended up changing that just because once I got more red throughout the room, I feel like it's a little bit overwhelming since this is such a small room. Yes, there I go, just changing to purple. And what I ended up doing was a purple and yellow color scheme, because I did do that in the office of another home. And I really like that color combination. There's just something about it that I think looks really good and very calming. So I figured that it would be good to have that color scheme for this house as well. So I did use the bohemian rug in the color that had a little bit of yellow in it, also that yellow chair in the corner there. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this office area. There's not much more that goes into it, just a plant in the corner. And then we're done with that. So after that, I'm pretty... Oh wait, no, never mind. I switched out the desk because there was just something... I just wasn't feeling that desk, so I ended up going with a more office type of one to, I guess, give the room a more conventional office kind of feel than what it had before. So now I'm on to the home gym. I was going to put blinds there at first, but I do get rid of those just because it messed with the lighting again, and I didn't think that was a room that needed as much privacy as a bathroom or a bedroom. Again, not that that matters in The Sims, but, you know, I like to think a little bit realistically about where I put curtains. You know, like, you don't want to have a bathroom with big windows in it with no curtains, because then you're just putting on a show for anyone walking down the street, and that's not really what most people want to do. So yeah, there's my logic with that. We're just getting some gym equipment in here, because it's a gym, so obviously that's stuff you're going to have in here. And yeah, I just ended up going with a simpler weight machine for that corner over there. I don't normally end up putting those big clunky ones at homes just because it doesn't seem as home gym-like to me. I mean, I guess if you're really rich, you can get some big fancy weightlifting machine, but I mean, I don't know, these guys they're doing fairly well, but they're not, I don't know what I'm saying. I just felt like, basically I just felt like that weightlifting machine just didn't fit into this house that well. Oh, and speaking of money and such, I actually didn't have a budget in mind when I built this house. I just built it and it came out however expensive it was. And I figured that'd be fine because the house they were in originally was fairly expensive. I think it was at least 150,000 simoleons. And this one came out to be I think it was like 164. I could be completely wrong on that, but for some reason 164,000 simoleons is a number that sticks in my mind. I could be way off, but yeah, it wasn't that much above that, so it didn't end up coming out too expensive anyway. And I just really wanted to make a modern house without any kind of budget in mind anyway, because I don't think that's something I've done for a very long time, if I ever have. Well, I guess I have. It's probably just been a year or so since I did that. And I think before I was saying how I wanted to build a larger modern house without any kind of budget in mind, so this house is finally that house after almost a year. I think I said it like a year ago. So there you go. Here's a larger modern house that was made without a budget. Anyway, now we're on to what will be Olivia's bedroom, because as I said before, she's the main breadwinner for this household, so she of course gets a nicest bedroom, because I see it as a deal where she found this house and was like, okay, you guys can live with me here, so of course, as a result of that, she has the nicest bedroom in the house. And I got stuck for a while on what to do with the wallpaper behind the bed and also the color of the bed itself. So I believe the brick and this bed color is what I ended up settling on. I also added in some mirrors behind the bed as a decoration, just adding some paintings to either side of it. And this room ended up having a purple and green color scheme. And it's not really that personalized to Olivia. And that was just because she had her very own office, so that's where her computer is for her writing, and that's kind of her main hobby. And I didn't really feel like it was necessary to add another computer into her bedroom since that's where her main computer is. I guess I also could have added a bookshelf into this room, but that was another thing I didn't think was necessary because we have a big bookshelf in both the study and in the living room area, so I figured that was enough bookshelves for this floor of the house. But right now I'm currently working on a little vanity. That's just something fun I like to do in bedrooms every so often. It serves no purpose, but it's just a fun, realistic touch to try to put into homes. And once I figured out the whole wallpaper situation, this room came together pretty quickly, so over here I just ended up having another mirror, and I think that means that there ended up being 3 mirrors in this room, or maybe it was just 2. No, I think it was just 2, because I was going to put one off to the side near where the bed is before, but I don't think I ended up doing that. Yeah, I think it's just a chair and a plant over there, because 3 mirrors in one room would probably be a little bit too much. But anyway, right now I'm getting a TV on this table right here. And one of you, Swiftly Summer, shared a neat trick with me for getting that TV to actually look like it's sitting on that table properly, because usually if you just use a Move Objects cheat and tap 9, it'll have it either slightly below or inside of the table, but what you can do to get it to actually sit right on that table is just use I believe it was the 3rd cheapest nightstand. It's the one that, as they put it, looks like an IKEA nightstand. It's pretty much just the one I used. And if you put the TV on that and then raise it up a little bit, it'll actually sit right on that table. So that's a neat trick if you're frustrated with trying to get TVs to look right on those accent tables. The only problem is it only works with smaller TVs like that one, so unfortunately you can't do that with the larger ones. And I don't know if there's some other kind of table that it snaps to regularly that will do the same thing. But at least there's a way of doing that with that TV. But right now I'm on to the bathroom, and for this bathroom I decided to go with a black and yellow theme. So you have yellow as an accent color, and I've just been using yellow in my builds a lot more recently. For a while I did not like yellow at all, but I've definitely been growing more of an appreciation for it recently, although I still don't like it when yellow is just the only color on the walls of a room. I prefer it as an accent color, but yeah, I definitely have been making more use of it as an accent color in builds recently. I was thinking about using that cool kitchen shelf above the bathtub as something with, I figured you could think of it as bath salts or something like that. But I didn't end up keeping that. It just was a little bit too large for that space, so that's what I ended up going with instead. And then now I'm just getting an accent table over here in front of the window with some decorations and soaps and such on it. And that's just about it for this bathroom. The last thing I did was put a rug in the middle of the room. I was trying to figure out the right placement of it because I just centered it in front of the table because there's so many things that I could possibly center the rug in front of, and I just figured that was the best one to center it in front of. The placement of rugs probably isn't that big of a deal, but I just tend to overthink small details like that. So right now we're moving on to the 2nd floor, and I just turned this whole open area out here into a play area for the kids because their bedroom is pretty small. It's actually the smallest bedroom in the house, and the 2 of them are sharing it. So since they had hardly any room for toys in their bedrooms, I thought it'd be good to just put a bunch of toys out here so they could play with them. And then if you don't have kids in this house, you could just use it as some sort of hangout area. So there are some other possibilities for this part of the house. I always find it really fun to furnish kids' play areas. And because yeah, this is what I did on the last speed build I had up, which was a build for another Let's Play that I have. And I'm also just putting up some decals on the walls here, because I just always love using little decals on the walls in kids' areas. We also have some orange walls up here for a nice bit of color, and I was trying to figure out a painting that would fit in there, but I just felt like a nice painting didn't really fit in with the kid-friendly look of this area, so I ended up putting the decals over there, and then just getting rid of the decals that were over in that nook type area. And that area does end up becoming the desk area, because the desk was something else that didn't fit inside the room, and I thought it'd be good for them to have a desk out here to do their homework on. I also put in a window there so that I didn't have to figure out something else to put on the wall, because if I couldn't put the decals there, I felt like I couldn't put the decals there because I used them over on the other wall, and I thought that would be too much use of the decals. So I just put a window in instead so I wouldn't have to think as much about what kinds of decorations to put on that wall. And also having the window there just helped to break up the outside wall because there was no windows on the front of the house apart from the door, which isn't really a window, but that was the only thing on the front of the house apart from just paint. that's just about it for this area up here. And the next room I worked on was the main bathroom that's upstairs, because there was another one that's off of one of the bedrooms, and I just furnished this one in a similar style to how I furnished the bathroom that was downstairs in the front of the house. And then I also just furnished the other bathroom that's up here in the similar style, because I just wasn't really, I was towards the end of the build, so I wasn't really in a mood to try to figure out different ways to furnish the bathrooms, or to furnish them, so I just kind of did similar things with each of them. And something weird that I noticed with this bathroom when I went to the build later on was that the walls were see-through. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that kind of a glitch in the game since the most recent update, but it was really weird, and to fix it I had to delete the walls and undo it, and then after that the walls were back, but it was just really annoying because it seemed like when I would delete one wall, another one would be invisible, or either that or I was just noticing other walls that were. I haven't noticed that since I reinstalled the game onto my new computer, so I don't know if just doing a fresh install maybe fixed that, but yeah, that was just such a strange thing, and I was wondering if anyone else had noticed that in their game. But I just finished both the bathrooms, so now we just have the 3 bedrooms left to furnish, and there's also the deck area outside. So this bedroom is going to be Meredith's bedroom, and I debated whether to give her this bedroom or the other one, because the other one does have its own bathroom on. I thought that maybe since Meredith is older, she should get the nicer bedroom than Judith and Kyle, but in the end I just gave Judith and Kyle the larger one with its own bathroom because they're 2 Sims and Meredith is 1, so in my mind it made more sense to do it that way, so you'd have Judith and Kyle with 2 people, 2 bathroom, and then Meredith and their kids would share the other bathroom, so you'd have 3 Sims to 1 bathroom and 2 to the others instead of 4 to 1 and 1 Sim having their own bathroom. That's just how my logic goes with this kind of a thing. At this point I've got the color scheme figured out, and as you can see it's a light blue, beige, and gray color scheme, and I was trying to use different wood colors than I normally use in my builds because I tend to go for either dark brown, black, or white, but I just use a beige instead and use a coloring of the bed that I don't normally use, and in the end I really like how it turned out. I feel like this room would work really well as a teen room too, and also the room that Judith and Kyle has. So yeah, if you move a family in here, I could see either of the rooms working really well as teen rooms, because they're not really that personalized, so it's pretty easy to put your own spin on it. I also gave the room a slightly industrial feel with that desk there, and just putting in the last bit of decoration in before I move on to the next room. And I was trying to get the TV adjusted just right, because I was being kind of picky about how it was placed. So that's it for, oh yeah, I remembered, so I put a trash can next to her desk, and then I thought that it would make a lot of sense if there was a trash can in the kitchen. So I just threw that in there last minute, also put a dishwasher in. But now we're on to the twins' bedroom, which, yeah, as I said, is the smallest out of the bedrooms. But they have a little play area out there, so it's fine. It's fine that they have a smaller bedroom. So for the beds, rather than using the kids' beds, what I did was I just used 2 of the adult beds in different colorings, but I kept the headboard the same, because I felt like it would look strange if I had different colored headboards. So this way, it's just like they got the same beds for each of them, but they just have different sheets on their beds. I did that back in my Let's Renovate Oakenstead series because a few of you suggested that I try that out, and ever since I did that, that's just a thing that I really like to do in kids' rooms now. So yeah, thanks to those of you who suggested that I did that, or that I do that back in that build. But there isn't really that much else that goes into this room. I thought it'd be cute if there was a little giraffe toy in there. And I also stuck a bookshelf in, and then a little poof seat over here so they could have a reading area in the room. And I believe that's just about it, apart from getting a few more decorations in. So now I'm on to furnishing the last of the rooms, which, as I keep mentioning, is Judith and Kyle's. I'm pretty happy with how this room turned out. I'm just trying to figure out the color scheme. I was going to go with red at first, but I just wasn't feeling red as the main color. So I ended up going with a softer blue. Yeah, I ended up going with that lighter blue. I just felt like it would be better if that room was a little bit lighter and brighter. And rather than putting an end table next to the bed, I just ended up, at first I was trying out putting counters in, but I ended up just having shelves go all the way across, and then I scooted the bed forward a little bit. So yeah, you just have shelves instead of nightstands. That's another little trick that I occasionally like to do in my homes. I don't really have much else to say about this build, so if you want to download it, there'll be a link to do so in the description, and I also have information down there about how to find it in-game. And yeah, that's it, so I hope you enjoyed the rest of this video.